cannot wait until this season is over. This NFL season. Not because I look forward even to next season. Just because I just can't take this shit no more.
So I mean, when a coach is fired, right? When the team fires your coach, every fan looks forward to looking at something different, right? You think to yourself, hey, maybe we'll see a semblance of something different, down the road. And nah, not really. Not today. Nah.
Not at all.
Nope.
I will say this. They even said this on the broadcast. They said this team looks like the team Steve Wilkes coached.
I agree.
And they did. For a little bit, but they still the Carolina Panthers, and CJ Henderson's still on the team. So
we had that we had the lead for literally 10 seconds, like literally, not making this up, a 10-second lead in football.
I don't
know what to say either, Kaza. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, I mean,
Why is CJ Henderson still on this team? Why? If anybody's watching, can somebody come up with an explanation as to why he is still on this roster? Why?
I'd rather see practice squad guys than CJ Henderson. It's like every week so let me say this. One of the things, there's actually something I hate about doing this show every week. And it's because I don't like really to talk negatively about professional athletes, even the ones I don't like.
Right.
Because I know
they can do something we can't do.
That I cannot do. And I know it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and a little bit of hitting the genetic lottery. Actually, a lot of hitting the genetic lottery. But I mean, besides that, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication and perfecting your craft to be one of the literal top fraction of a percent athletes in the world. However, CJ Henderson, bro, every week I know he's gonna give up some kind of big play. And it's been like that for like 3 years now. I don't know, man.
Listen, we always try to be objective and add context to whatever we're saying, right? To do that, J.C. Horn, probably not in the best game shape, who did give up a big play himself, but we all can probably agree he's probably not in football shape just yet, right? The Panthers coaching staff even kind of limited his snaps today during the game. It's important to note he wasn't even out on the field for the second Mike Evans play, right? So that leaves CJ Henderson out there again, and who gives up a big play again. Now, look, man, it's Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a fantastic player, 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I get all that. But you are a professional, and you know what spot you're in, right? Hey, man, I can't give up a big play after my team just scored a touchdown, right? It's like the awareness has to spike up a little bit, right? It's just these little the lack of attention to detail, not just with CJ Henderson, but the whole team is so frustrating, man. Like, come on. Like, Kaza, they're probably ready for the season to be over with just like we are, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I will say that they played with a little bit more zest today.
Yeah.
Offensively. It was chippy. Brian Burns got ejected for some bullshit.
Which was stupid. Yeah. Yeah.
The refs clearly were like, yeah, we bet on Tampa. We need them to cover. That was a cat. Mingo. Okay, I'll give them that. But it was just the thing is, when you're the Carolina Panthers, who cares what the refs do? You got to help yourself, and they did not do that. Bryce Young finally has a great drive, right? And you finally look like you've cracked the code of Tampa's defense, which I didn't think was all that great. Chuba was running well. Rain's coming down, which means that you're going to be able to run the ball. And you score. And then you give up a 75-yard pass. I don't even feel like talking about these.
It's bad teams do what, man? They just lose the same way.
Don't even want to talk like football stuff about them, because what is there to talk about? Like Bryce Young is under duress every play, and the commentators try and pretend like, I just want them to just come out and be like, "Yo, Carolina they trash as hell. The O-line's trash."
But speaking of that, though, the commentators did pile on a little bit on Carolina today, because you remember they were talking about, well, Chris McCaffrey was on this team, and sometimes when you make trades like that, it's not the best decision in the world.
No, it's not.
Shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, let's trade away all of our best players and draft picks. Let's trade those away too.
DJ Moore, don't forget about him. Yeah,
boy, the Chicago Bears, if they don't win a Super Bowl like next year,
they're really just horrible organization. They're really or another team can't help another team more than the Panthers have helped the Bears.
Right now, the Bears are in line to get the first pick and the fourth pick, and they already have DJ Moore. I don't care what they do. If in fact Justin Fields better be like, you better have his resume tight.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, right. He better be on Indeed, because it's too many talented quarterbacks coming out, man, for the Bears, and just say, "Yeah, we're good." You know what I mean?
But meanwhile, in Carolina land,
no hope around here, buddy.
Ain't no help coming. Since the team is trash, and I don't want to talk about their stupid asses, I do want to talk about this report that has been floating around that the Panthers are going to target Bill Belichick for the new head coach. And the reports coming out of New England are that Kraft would love to be able to get rid of Bill Belichick in that manner. He doesn't want, how are you going to fire a coach that brought you 7 Super Bowls?
Right.
Another team says, "Hey, we'll take him. The pressure is off you."
Right.
Cam Newton made a statement about it as well, saying that from what he's heard, that appears to be true. The Panthers are targeting him, and I could totally see David Tepper wanting to make that kind of splash.
Right.
But we all know what kind of coach Bill Belichick is. Bill Belichick is essentially the de facto GM for the Patriots, and he has been for 2 decades. Is he going to want to come to a team where the owner is all up in the videos dancing? Right?
Are you asking if he wants to play for Steve Tepper? Is that what? Coach for Steve Tepper.
With Bill, but see, a lot of people feel like, Swag, they're going to go after Ben Johnson. I don't think Ben Johnson comes here.
Why would he? Why would Ben Johnson want to coach this team?
Why?
So, Kaiser, that's a perfect transition to what I was actually gonna ask you. And my next question was, what coach wants this damn job? Now, if you're Bill Belichick, and I'm gonna ask the same question with Bill Belichick, why would he want to come to this mess? Now, there is one reason why Bill Belichick would want to come to this mess. There's actually 2 reasons Bill Belichick would want to come here. Number one, he's going to get a big paycheck, buddy, because whoever the next Carolina Panthers coach is, they are going to get broke off. You hear me? That checkbook is going to be open, because you can't get another coach without opening the checkbook here, buddy. You hear me?
Yeah.
Number 2, like you alluded to, the Kraft Belichick Patriots era probably should be over. I think that's easy to say these days. It probably should be there should be a divorce there, right? So, as bad as this coaching job may appear, there's only 32 jobs in the NFL, right? Why not take one? Why not take this opening? It's definitely a perfect challenge for Belichick to fix this mess. It'll be the biggest challenge of his career. Yeah. So, maybe that will lure him to Carolina.
I don't think that, honestly, getting Bill Belichick would make much of a difference in making the Panthers a successful team. The coaching would be infinitely better than anything that maybe we've ever had. True, but I think the problem with the Panthers are beyond coaching. A lot of it's lack of personnel and talent, really,
and culture.
And I don't think Bill Belichick, his track record as a GM is not great, right? Think about it. How many guys? The Patriots have 7 championships in the last 20 years. How many guys?
Let's go ahead and state the obvious.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and state the obvious real quick, Kaza. It's tied to one other dude.
Yeah,
let's state the obvious.
He might be the only person from that entire 20 years that had to end. He's going to end up with a yellow jacket, right?
Right.
So what is Bill Belichick going to come here and do? I don't.
You mean without the greatest quarterback ever, right? Is that what you're alluding to?
Yeah. What's he going to now? Granted, he might be able to scheme up some stuff for Bryce Young, right? And I do think that maybe I think the Panthers would be improved, but I don't know if he can. It's going to just take time to fix this franchise. And if Bill Belichick is 1,000,000 years old. Is he really going to want to have to, is he really going to want to have to make that kind of time sacrifice to make the Carolina Panthers better? You're looking at least another season of being terrible.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're going to get your first round picks back. You're probably going to have a top 10 pick, but you're still going to be you're going to be average, mediocre after that.
Mm-hmm.
Is Bill Belichick, is any coach willing to wait around for that?
And not only that, man, but let's think about the possible personality clash here, right?
Right.
Bill Belichick ain't taking Tepper shit. Let's be very clear about that. You understand? Bill Belichick got 7 rings, regardless of how he got them, regardless of who his quarterback was. That man got 7 championship rings. You think he's going to listen to David Tepper? Man, please. I wouldn't.
Yeah. If it's under Carolina, it will be under the assumption that Bill Belichick is going to run the show. I think that's the only way he comes here. If he's like, look, not Fitterer, which that might be great for Tepper might say, okay, because then he can get it from under Scott Fitterer without, being the bad guy there.
Right.
I still, though, I don't know. Do I got to talk about these guys? Like, do we have to?
Look, man. Look, I know they barely give a professional effort every week, man, but we still gotta be pros for the fans, man. As hard as that is right now.
That's true. As far as the game today, to lose 21-18 in a game you really should have won.
You had it.
Chuba Hubbard gets 104 yards rushing.
Right.
Mingo has another pretty good game. This is second week in a row.
If there's one positive to take out of this, at least we're seeing some improvement from Mingo. I mean, something. Yeah.
So I do think the team did look more like what we saw when they at the end of last season when Steve Wilkes was coaching them. Like their identity was, okay, we're gonna run the ball and we're gonna do these schemes. Now I don't think the play calling was necessarily any better. I don't think the play calling was necessarily any better. I don't think, I mean, there was still, I didn't see a big difference in Frank Reich, in Sabor, and with Thomas Brown calling the plays.
But there is one thing, and it's one thing I did notice. Bryce did go down the field a bit more today.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
I want to be. I hope I'm very clear when I say this. There was the slightest of improvement with the O-line, and I do mean the slightest. Not much at all. Please let me be very clear about that. There were at least at times Bryce had time to throw. I mean,
Yeah,
again, they still gave up way too many sacks. They're still bad. I want to be very clear about that. But we saw glimpses today.
I think the only time the O-line actually looked bad in pass protection was when it was obvious that Tampa was going to bring pressure. You know, when
Right. You heard the commentator talk about that a lot today.
Yep. When they loaded up the box with blitzers, and then they were making Bryce have to essentially decide where the hot read was. That was the only time the O-line struggled. And straight up, regular pass protection with a 4-man rush. Yeah, I thought they did okay. I'm not gonna give them an A+. Maybe a D+ at the most. You still don't want Bryce, running for his life every play. I did notice a lot more designed rollouts.
Yeah, right.
To help alleviate that pressure. And it was kind of refreshing to see the coaching staff recognize that pass protection is a problem and to scheme around that. I don't think Frank Reich did that. I think Frank Reich was like, okay, you're gonna drop back and you're just gonna feel the pressure and you're gonna step up in the pocket and make a throw, Bryce Young. Okay, sure. That's easy to say when you don't have Vita Vea, in your face every play. So
hey, Kyle, speaking of play comment, if you can highlight Jamon's comment real quick. Hey, shout out to Jamon real quick, man. What's up, buddy? So you see what the Bucks did on their 3rd and 1 when they broke it for like 25 yards or whatever it was? Why couldn't we do that?
Especially since we have been running the ball so well.
Especially since both starting linebackers are out for the Bucks.
Well, I'm going to chalk that up. Situational play calling is something that comes with just experience and being in the NFL in that position, right? And we just don't have that right now on the sidelines. I think they, a lot of time coaches outsmart themselves. They try and get cute, and that's what happened today with our coaching staff. I think they got outcoached a little bit.
Absolutely.
And that ended up being the difference, a 3-point difference. So,
but to be fair, you got a lot of coaches on our sideline who ain't used to coaching. We have a damn special teams coach in the head position right now. So what do we expect?
Yep. Yeah, I don't. I'm not. I'm not ready to pile on Bryce Young yet because it's clear that this isn't his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I think if you give Bryce time to throw, and he made some really good throws today. He made some pretty bad throws today.
Yeah,
going backwards.
That interception is on him mainly.
Yeah, you just gotta, like the commentator said, you gotta throw that a little bit earlier. But the thing is, those are things rookies are gonna do, especially given the situation that he's in, where he's got no pass protection and he's got no receivers that can really get open. Although DJ Chark actually looked solid today. And I think what's happening is the teams are like, okay, well, Adam Thielen is Bryce Young's security blanket. Let's take that away. So now he's got no choice but to throw elsewhere. And, some of those guys are starting to step up. It's not enough, though.
Yeah, and on that last throw, North Sea fella, you're correct. Even on the last throw, there was pressure in his face. That's just the truth. People are going to say, oh, you're making excuses, but it's the truth. He even had pressure on that throw. So, until this guy consistently has clean pockets, it's tough to gauge Bryce Young, man.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah. All right. We wasted 20 minutes on the Carolina Panthers.
Hey, real quick. Willie's asking if we think Bryce is regressing. No, I think this offense is so dysfunctional, man. You can't gauge Bryce Young.
No, because I thought he had seeing him go deep today multiple times.
Yeah, right. Those are small strides today, actually. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I like that. And I think that's the direction you got. You gotta let Bryce Young cook, man. You can't. I think Frank Reich was so afraid of maybe he think if the reports are true that he wanted Stroud over Young, maybe he thought that Bryce Young was too small, and he felt that he could protect him by trying to get these quick passes off and not go downfield because the receiver core couldn't get that kind of separation. But at the same time, it's like you can't have 50% of your passes at or behind the line of scrimmage every game. That's you'll never win. So you have
just like we never win because you got teams just hanging out in cover 2 all game, not worried about you throwing the ball down the field. So
you gotta keep the defense honest. Next week the Panthers play the Saints, who lost today because they sorry too, but just not as sorry as the Panthers.
Score prediction: I'm going Saints 28, Panthers 14.
2014 Saints.
Gotcha.
All right, enough about the motherfuckers. Okay, so the other team in Charlotte, they sorry as hell too, but for different reasons. For different reasons. The Charlotte Hornets last week went 1-2, having to deal with LaMelo Ball injury. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but he's out indefinitely. Brandon Miller also injured either his ankle or his knee. The injury report changed twice. That is a commonality with the Charlotte Hornets. I
wish I had an answer as to why that was. I truly don't.
So whatever it was, he was able to come back against the Knicks and looked really good in that game. Led all scorers in a loss, and then pulling out a nail biter against the Brooklyn Nets, in which the Charlotte Hornets put up a historic performance. Like they're the only team in the history of the NBA to shoot 100% from the free throw line, more than 50% from three, more than 50% on the field, with more than eight makes from 3-point land, and they still only won by 1, and they got lucky to only win by 1. So I did predict they would lose to the Knicks and the Timberwolves. That was the last game they played against Minnesota, in which they lost a game that they should have won, but they ended up losing a close competitive game. I thought that they would beat the Nets only because I don't think the Nets are really that good. But the Timberwolves and the Knicks are for real this year anyway, and I didn't think we had a chance in those games.
So here we go with our Falcons fan celebrating his bullshit victory over the Jets today.
Nobody cares.
Hello, Danny. How's it going, man? Anyway, about the Hornets. Let's talk about this game versus the Knicks, because this was an ugly game. This was the first game, coming back after LaMelo got hurt, man. We lost this one 115-91. You're not going to win any games in today's NBA only scoring 91 points. I think that is a captain obvious statement for today. But you're really not going to win if you're the Charlotte Hornets if you're only getting 4 points out of Gordon Hayward. That cannot happen. And you're only getting 13 out of the guy who wants $30 million next year, Mr. Miles Bridges. Man.
I don't know what was up with that game. I do know what's up.
I think they were shell shocked. I believe they were like, "Damn, we don't have our guy."
You don't have no ball. Yep.
Yeah, they looked. What's the word I'm looking for? They looked disheveled. They looked shell shocked. They looked like they were not into it the whole night.
No, I mean LaMelo Ball is the engine that makes the Hornets go, for better or for worse, and he wasn't there. And I don't think they knew what to do. I don't think the Hornets, previous to the Nets game, I'll talk about that in a minute, their offensive scheme is give the ball to LaMelo and let him create. That's their offensive scheme. Set some picks, stand around, wait for threes.
Get out the way. Yep.
Yeah, and if LaMelo drives, and just wait for a pass.
Whatever. Yep.
With LaMelo gone, I mean, you don't have time to install an actual scheme, and that scheme doesn't work well for Terry Rozier. That's just not the style of basketball that Terry plays when he plays the point. So that's why they played better in the Brooklyn game, though. Terry Rozier had 13 assists. I mean, he balled out because
they made a quick adjustment for that Brooklyn game.
Like, okay, we're not going to play like we were playing with LaMelo as the point guard. I noticed that they played a lot more half court. They were still running up and down the court, but their approach was a bit more measured than it was with LaMelo, and guys are able to get some set shots. And I mean, it just rained threes that day. In fact, they've shot the three very, very well these last few games, but they shot 58% in the Brooklyn game. And Terry Rozier said in an interview after with Ashley, he said, I am a point guard. So, kind of like how everyone is saying, oh, Terry can't run the point.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on that. Okay, yes, Terry can play point guard. Yes. Has Terry shown he can play point guard? Yes. Do I consistently want him to be a point guard? Absolutely not. I want Terry Rozier to stand in the corner and knock down threes. That's my preference for Terry Rozier offensively. Which leads me to a point I want to make, man. Look, man, I love what Ish Smith has given us, when he's been here in his previous terms here, right? But I still think Mitch Kupchak got to be looking around like, man, we could still use an upgrade at backup point guard. I seriously believe that. On top of having a third center, which is neither here nor there now because Nick Richards is back. But I still think we should. There's somebody out there, and I don't know who. We've mentioned John Wall. We've mentioned, a couple of other people, man. But I'm just still not sold on what happens when LaMelo is not on the floor of this team, man. It's just too inconsistent for my taste.
Yeah, absolutely. The offense is a completely different animal when LaMelo's not playing. And I will say, though, we saw good performances from my son, Bryce McGowan's. Had a great game against Brooklyn. And Nick Smith Jr. Nick Smith Jr. had a great game. I don't think either of those guys, you can rely on them, though, to be the backup point guard. I know people will say, well, NBA is, positionless league now. That's somewhat true, but that doesn't mean that Nick Smith can run the offense, right? So, they got to figure out something with that backup point guard position. And I would anticipate at the trade deadline, that's where we're going to see some relief there.
Yeah, I will say this, man. I give this team big time credit for that Brooklyn win, even though that game looked like a damn Dowd YMCA game because of no defense. But I still give them credit for getting stops when they needed to, at least, and pulling out that game. No LaMelo, no Brandon Miller. I'm thinking, man, we get blown out this game. But for Terry Rozier to step up like that, like you said, 37 points, Gordon Hayward 22, Miles Bridges 23, man. Everybody stepped up when they needed to, man. So and then on top of that crazy stat line that you threw out about the 50% from field and from the three, and then the 100% free throw line stat. Great game by the Hornets, man. And it took all that just to win by one. A win is a win. I'll take it.
I don't want to come down on them too badly for the Timberwolves loss because I thought that they would lose that game. And maybe you could say, well, they should have won. Anthony Edwards wasn't playing, but then again, LaMelo Ball wasn't playing.
Right.
That was a competitive game. I know some people may look at the score and think that it wasn't, but up until
Nick Richards point shaved 5 points in the fourth quarter.
I don't know what happened. And you know what? To me, that might have been why when Mark Williams fouled out, PJ came in the game. And that meant that there was no rim protection, and Mike Conley just took advantage. So then Steve Clifford brings in Nick Richards, and it just got worse. Honestly, it just got worse.
It got worse.
I would have rather have had PJ out there than Nick Richards. And I understand Nick Richards, he's missed a few games due to being in the concussion protocol. But, and we know he can't match up with Rudy Gobert or Naz Reid or Karl Anthony Towns. But man, bro. Yeah.
So, okay. About that, I want to expound on that a little more, man. So with Mark Williams falling out, which I want to have a brief discussion about the referees this game.
Oh,
Kaza, we always say this, man. We want to talk about the actual game and we want to talk about the actual sport more than we want to talk about referees.
Right.
Not only just that, the fans who pay their money to come to games, they come to see the players. Nobody has ever paid money to come see referees. This was one of those games. And Kaza, let me be clear. I'm not saying every call was wrong. I'm not saying there were a ton of bad calls, but you'll understand what I'm saying when I say this. This game shouldn't be about referees.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like the referees took over the game in the fourth quarter. There was a lot of weak calls, man. I mean, just stuff that a lot of veteran referees will just let go. You understand what I'm saying? There was just a lot of weak calls. Like the call with Mark Williams fouled out, man. Like, come on, dude, let that go, man.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Part of me thinks that might have been a makeup call. You know, I don't know. Yeah.
Like Rudy Gobert got.
First of all, the call, there was a moving screen that was called on Mark Williams. I don't remember if that was the call that he fouled out on, but I remember thinking, wow, no, I think that was the call, but I remember thinking, wow, that's bullshit. Like, mainly because moving screens in the NBA are so subjective, and we see other teams get away with them all the time. So
a lot worse too.
Yeah, either you call them all or you don't call them at all. And I understand that the NBA refs kind of they take advantage of the subjectivity of that particular call. And that was, I don't know what they thought. That I don't know. I don't know.
That the Timberwolves game was a tough one for me, man, because you know they came to that game 15-4, 14-4, something like that. So for us to, you know, if we would have beat them, that would have been a really good win against a good up and coming team, man.
It just kind of shows though that our interior is not as stout as Karl Anthony Towns.
Wait, time out, Kaza. Time out.
Rudy Gobert, 28 points.
Wait. That can't be true because Hornets fans told me that once we get rid of Plumlee, everything is going to correct itself. Oh, everything is just going to automatically get better when we got rid of Plumlee. And what did you know what? I ain't even going to get into what did I tell y'all today. It's not even, I'm not doing it.
Hey, so, I really like Mark Williams, and I think
I do too.
Solid piece of the Hornets core for years to come. But this is only his second season. He's barely played 70 games in his NBA career, having to take on former Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, who is a pretty good offensive player, too. That's a tall
and it helps that he gets all the damn whistles, too. But go ahead, sir.
You know what? The Hornets got to help him out. I think what's happening is that the rest of the team gets lazy on defense because they believe, well, Mark Williams will be right there, and teams are taking advantage of that. They're pulling him away from the basket.
Kaza speaks perfect transition into what we were about to go into.
Yeah.
Steve Clifford went on a classic rant last night. You hear me?
I never see old Steve like this.
Boy, Steve let him have it last night. So as much we've seen Steve Clifford a lot over the years, needless to say, right? I've seen Steve Clifford piss plenty of times. Right. I have never heard Steve Clifford call out his team publicly like he did last night.
Because I mean, he's just like James Borrego used to do. He's telling them how to win the game, and they're not doing it either by choice or lack of ability. And I know I can't figure it out, and I know he can't, obviously, or else he wouldn't be so frustrated.
But and this is why I always say I'm not as hard on Steve Clifford as other people are. Because for one, I agree with him. Like, how can you really disagree with what he's saying? What he's saying is really true. They do have to be more physical. They do have to find a way to play defense and be more physical without fouling. Regardless of what we feel about the referees, that's the reality of the NBA. You got to get over it, man. You have to find a way to get stops without fouling. And Steve Clifford has said that 100 times. And for whatever reason, it's not getting in their heads, man. So me and you see it. Hornets fans see it. I'm sure he's frustrated. So in that breath, this is why I'm not like, oh, fire Steve Clifford. Oh, he's not the guy. That's why I'm not on that train, because you go fire the guy and you go hire coach number 3 in 5 years or whatever. Who's to say the message is going to get across to them at that point?
Yeah. At some point, you got to have the talent. Maybe the Hornets just don't have the defensive talent. They just don't.
Maybe if they want to culturally shake up some things, they should trade certain people. I'm not naming any players. I'm not putting it on 1 or 2 guys.
No, but they've got to. Yeah, they've got to. I did see something during. It might have been the Brooklyn game or the Knicks game, but the other team had scored. In fact, it was the Brooklyn game. Brooklyn had just scored. Steve Clifford called a timeout, and on the way back to the sideline, you know who was getting at everybody?
Who was that?
Miles Bridges.
Right.
Miles Bridges was being very vocal during that game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how, what Miles Bridges' rapport is in the locker room with the rest of the team, but they need somebody who's going to hold people accountable. And Miles Bridges is actually a pretty good defender. He's always been a solid defender. He might not be like Paul George or something like that, but he's always been
Draymond or nothing like that, right?
He's always been a pretty solid defender. But something's got to change culturally for the Charlotte Hornets for them to be more physical, and essentially, have a defensive attitude. And they've always maybe, and that I guess was a failing of James Borrego. He was an offensive minded coach. But he would always preach to them to play defense, and they wouldn't.
Yeah. Even though Gordon Hayward spoke up last night, man, it just kind of alluded to the lack of focus that they had, and the lack of attention to detail, and the playing defense without fouling. He even spoke to it too. So I mean, hopefully, between 2 vets and your coach, maybe the message finally gets across, but it hasn't in the last couple of years, so who knows?
I don't think Cody Martin's coming back. I don't think he's coming back now.
I don't know what to think about Cody Martin. I don't know what to think.
If Cody Martin comes back, where does he fit?
Well,
Nick Smith Jr. is already not getting minutes. Neither is James Bouknight.
Right.
And
Bryce McGowan. He seems to be a Cliff favorite right now.
Right,
coming off the bench.
Minutes mainly because of injuries to main players.
Right.
I mean, with a fully healthy roster of LaMelo, Terry, Mark, PJ, Miles, Gordon Hayward, and Brandon Miller, you've only got 1 or 2 slots there. You got Nick Richards, and then you got whoever the backup point guard is, which right now is Smith. Where does that leave Martin?
Well, Kaiser, they ultimately gave up Kelly Oubre for Cody Martin, so they wanted to fit him in somewhere, right? Because that's what I truly believe Kelly Oubre is not on this team because they're prioritizing Cody Martin. I truly believe that.
I have been a Mitch Kupchak defender for years now.
Not on this one.
Not on that. If that is the case, no,
not
I can't
defend
that. You got a guy giving you 20 points a game, willing to come off the bench, and you just let him walk in free agency for nothing because here's the kicker, because you already paid Cody Martin. That's what I'm saying. They already gave Cody Martin his contract. Here's the thing. They could have paid Kelly Oubre if they wanted to.
I agree.
I think Oubre, first of all, I'm certain Oubre wanted more than the Hornets were willing to pay. I think Kelly Oubre and his team thought this was a career season for me. There are a lot of teams that are going to want my services. And when he got out on the market, that wasn't the case. The market was real tight this season, as PJ Washington found out.
Right.
Teams weren't willing to pay Kelly. Probably wanted $18-20 million, and teams were like, "Nah, man."
And Kaiser, remember we briefly talked about the new CBA affecting free agency too. So yeah.
So I think that combined with a lot. I think the Hornets, if they really wanted to keep Kelly Oubre, they could have, but I think they thought, well, if we don't have Kelly, who would be coming off the bench again this season, what are we missing? Can we replace his production? Well, let's see what Nick Smith and Bryce McGowan got this year. So,
and we're drafting Brandon Miller. Let's not forget that part.
That's a big thing too.
Yeah.
By the way, Brandon Miller, leading scorer in the Knicks game. There's for those of you in the Hornets group, there's a few lively discussions between two members of the Hornets groups that have, I'll just say these two guys have always been an annoyance for the members of the Hornets group. They've been banned and let back in multiple times. But the argument is about Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson. Now,
I'm so tired of hearing Scoot Henderson's name, but go ahead.
I'm not going to say the names, but everyone in the chat in the Hornets group know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to give him that shot on the show. One of them is saying, and this person has not been a Brandon Miller fan since day one, but he's saying that Brandon, he's always maintained was a 3-and-D guy who cannot create his own shot. My thing is, one, does anyone believe that's true? But two, I'm kind of failing to see why that's the problem. Maybe that's the reason why the Hornets drafted him. I've been maintaining since they got the second pick that fit is underrated compared to best player available. And right now, Brandon Miller looks like he fits with the Charlotte Hornets.
Right.
He plays good defense. He's finally got his NBA range. He can shoot. So what if he can't break dudes off the dribble and get to the basket? Neither could Miles Bridges his first 2 years. And now look at him.
Hello.
It took Kemba Walker 5-6 years before he could do that.
Hello.
So I'm maintaining that right now. Brandon Miller, outside of Wembanyama, is the best rookie in the NBA. In fact, he's going to get Rookie of the Month for November. I don't know if they've already announced it yet, but I don't know. I think we made the right pick there, and I don't even have to bring up Scoot Henderson's name.
Yeah, and I think with Brandon Miller, I think the big thing with Brandon Miller is putting on muscle. And that's going to come. You understand what I'm saying? Like again, man, we're talking what? We are 18 games into the season. Man, please. Brandon Miller is fine. He fits with this team fine. Yeah. If Steve Clifford loves you as a rookie, you are doing something right.
Yeah.
So for all of Brandon Miller's faults that people want to bring up, eventually all those will correct themselves as the seasons go along. This young man's 20 years old. He's going to be fine, man. It excites me to no end for me to see LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller in the next 2 to 3 seasons. That's going to be crazy. I can't wait for that.
Also, I think having Brandon Miller just signals a definite.
Time out real quick. Hey, Perlard, you beat the Jets. Shut up. Why are Falcons fans so hyped today? You beat the Jets. Shut up. Kaiser, go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I think that we're in a situation kind of like we were with Mason Plumlee and Mark Williams. We wanted to see the young guy get starter minutes and be the starter, but you got this other more reliable veteran on, in his place. I don't think the Hornets want to bench Gordon Hayward, although I think the best thing for the team right now is to let Gordon play 20 minutes a game rather than
30 minutes a game.
30 minutes a game, and then, every other game have like a 25-point performance.
Right.
But having said that, I could see the Hornets aggressively trying to move Gordon Hayward just to be able to, permanently insert Brandon Miller into the starting lineup. So
yeah, but Hornets fans are hard on Gordon Hayward because of how much he's getting paid, and I always say he didn't pay himself. But
hey, you know what? If you're gonna be hard on Gordon, you better be hard on LaMelo Ball.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Right now,
and do it for the same reason. Exactly.
Yep. Right now, there's less than a 20 games played difference between LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward in their time as a Charlotte Hornet. And if LaMelo ends up missing as much time as they think we will, by the end of this season, LaMelo Ball will have missed as many games as a Charlotte Hornet as Gordon Hayward has. I'm just saying. I remember in the group, I remember a few of us were saying, hey, LaMelo Ball might be injury prone. And boy, they came out of the woodwork to tell us how wrong we were. And here we are without LaMelo Ball yet again after paying him all the money.
And I don't like seeing LaMelo Ball hurt. Let me be very clear about that.
I mean, player, clearly.
LaMelo need to go talk to Steph, because remember all those injuries Steph had in the beginning of his career with the ankles, right?
Yep.
And I forget where I read this the other day, but Steph mentioned something about improving his upper body strength for some reason. It actually helped his ankle health. I don't know how that correlates, but whatever. So I said to say, hopefully those two can have a conversation at some point to alleviate this mess.
I had heard a rumor that the team had asked Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball to wear ankle braces similar to the ones that Steph Curry wears sometime in the offseason, either during training camp or summer league or something like that, preseason. And then I guess Terry and LaMelo said they hated them and they wouldn't wear them.
Right.
They did try to wear them, but my thing is, you got to do at this point. You have to do something. You have
to get used to it. Don't wear them for 20 minutes and be like, oh, I hate them.
Yeah,
it's gonna take an adjustment, man. You gotta play through that, man.
Yeah, I'd rather them deal with that. I'd rather if they impact your performance by 5%, I'd rather have a 95% LaMelo Ball than a 0% LaMelo Ball because he's not playing. So,
guys, this may sound crazy. I've probably never said anything like this before, but at the same time, if I'm ownership and I have a $250 million investment I just made,
you're gonna wear those.
You're gonna wear them damn braces.
You're gonna wear them. I'm coming to practice, and I'm be like, hey,
right.
A report.
Hey, go ahead. Report
came out.
NBA updates.
Sources believe that Miles Bridges is not going to return to the Hornets next season. The tweet was made by some guy. I'm not even going to say his name. I don't feel like looking up right now. But Miles Bridges,
I think.
Yeah, Miles Bridges saw the tweet and simply responded with a question mark.
Excuse me?
Huh? I am very glad Miles Bridges did that because we don't really have to speculate.
Right.
I'm not saying that Miles Bridges will return as a Charlotte Hornet. A lot of teams, if he continues to play like he is now, which by all indications, he's going to end up averaging 20 plus points a game, like a 25-5 season. Teams are going to back the truck up for Miles Bridges. They'll forget about, the trouble he got into. That won't even be, trust me, it's barely an issue now. It will not be an issue when it's time for free agency. So a lot of teams are going to want to pay him. However, I think he likes being a Charlotte Hornet. I think he appreciates the fact the Hornets were by his side through this entire ordeal. And he's LaMelo Ball's best friend. And LaMelo just signed a 4-year deal. And the Hornets actually can pay him more than any other team can pay him. So I don't see why these sources would even say that.
That's my question. I wonder where is this coming from? I wonder, was it just clickbait? And that's all it could have been. It could have just been, hey, let me go get my Twitter followers up and cause some trouble in social media land. But outside of that, where is that coming from? Like because me and the Hornets are really tight-lipped on a lot of different things. There's a lot that they don't let leak out. Let's be very clear about that. But on the flip side of that, man, with this Miles Bridges thing about him not coming back, I mean, we've seen nothing from anybody. I mean, anybody, not Miles, not anybody. And on the surface, it really doesn't make a lot of sense for Miles Bridges to want to go anywhere else for this reason. Number one, the Hornets are going to pay him because they know it's PR suicide if they don't. aside from the stuff.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm just talking about basketball, right? Right. And to me, the biggest point is this team was by your side at the lowest point.
Yeah.
They could have just did away with you and let you deal with whatever was coming your way. They didn't. There's got to be some kind of loyalty. I know there's no loyalty in sports. I get that. But in this particular situation, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, man.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. I'm very glad LaMelo Ball, or not LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges tweeted that question mark, because that let me know that even he was like,
excuse me?
What the hell? I think that him not taking the deal this season to be a free agent is him betting on himself, like he's done his entire career. He's betting on himself. The Hornets probably made an offer that he felt was low, and they probably made that offer because of the legal stuff that was happening. He's going to come out, he's going to ball, and he's going to be like, look, you got to pay me like what you paid LaMelo. And the Hornets will. And that'll be it. He'll be a Charlotte Hornet. I don't know. You know why the sources say that? It's because it's the Charlotte Hornets.
Of course.
Right. Everybody wants I think the media want the Hornets to fail, and it can't be because of Michael Jordan anymore.
Not anymore. Can't do that one anymore, right?
Yeah, just because it's no fun ragging on the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Because they have the Knicks have literally 20 million fans in the United States. You know,
and right now they got a decent team. Like, they're not terrible anymore. You know what I mean? Right. They're not terrible right now, right? Even
though they were like the Detroit Pistons should be getting way more shit than the Charlotte Hornets.
Not just the Pistons, but let's talk about the great Greg Popovich with the unicorn who's lost 13 in a row. We don't see that in the news very often for some reason.
They sorry as hell. That's all I say about them. I can't wait till we play them. Because you know why? Because I think we're going to win that game. And the media is just like Summer League. Remember we played the Spurs in the Summer League?
Yeah.
Brandon Miller dropped Wimbiana. Yeah. And everyone, the commentators try to act like they ain't see the shit, but we saw it. I saw Brandon Miller cross Wimbiana up. So I'm just saying, I saw Kai Jones dunk on him too. I saw those two things happen, and they tried to act like.
Let's Herbert sweep this under the rug.
But Wimbiana makes a pass. Oh, did you see that pass, man? I can't wait, and I hope we beat the Spurs by 500 points.
Same.
And yeah, they sorry as hell. But ask anyone else, the Hornets are the worst team in the league.
Right. All right, man. Next week we are at Chicago on Wednesday. Get a long break between this weekend and Wednesday.
Chicago and Toronto, two winnable games.
Yeah.
That they'll probably lose.
1-1. I feel safe going 1. I think they beat.
Go ahead.
I'm going 1-1. I think they beat Chicago. The great, the glorious, and the franchise-saving Zach LaVine. I think he's battling injuries. Him and DeRozan are battling some injuries. Who knows if they even play? Even if they do play, I actually still pick us to win that game. And Toronto, they've had our number the last couple of games and seasons, man. So I go 1-1.
I'm gonna do something I never do on this show.
Oh shit! Oh boy!
I'm going all in. Hornets go 2-0 next week.
Oh, remember the last time that happened?
Yeah, they did not go.
Go for it.
Here's why. Just like how I thought the Nets weren't that good, the Toronto and the Bulls, they're just as bad as the Hornets, right? But when I look at the talent on those teams, I just feel like the Hornets are a little bit more talented, right?
Yeah.
And even though LaMelo Ball's not playing, we're more top heavy than those teams. We don't have the depth that other teams have, and I think that's what loses the Hornets. That's what's losing the Hornets games is our bench comes in and everything falls apart. Right. But I know I think that this little break helps the team. They're going to regroup. I think they're mad about that Minnesota loss. I
know Cliff is.
Yeah, and I think they're a little hurt by what Steve Clifford said. When your coach comes out and he didn't throw them under the bus. He didn't do a Matt Rule.
Mm-hmm.
He just held them accountable publicly. Like, look, we got punked, and here's why, and here's what we need to do better. I think they're gonna come out and win, and then get killed by Miami. After that.
I agree.
All right.
Kaza, you got any? Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so I know what Jamal. I know what Jamal's shout out is. So I'm gonna keep this quick. This is a shout at Colin Cowherd. Now you're at why is Kai talking about Colin Cowherd? Because Cam Newton recently on Cam Newton's podcast, by the way, is really good. I would say this. Cam Newton has like rebranded himself, and his podcast is starting to get a lot of traction. He's doing different things. He actually has other people that are coming in as producers on the podcast, and he's got writers, and you can actually tell he's put a lot of work into being like this. You know, he's always said he wants to be a media icon, right? So shout out to Cam Newton's podcast. But on this podcast, he talked about Bryce Young and Justin Fields, and he was saying that he sympathizes with those two because he said he felt like he went through the same thing in Carolina, which I don't disagree with Cam. They did offensively. The Panthers did not build around Cam Newton. They were like, Cam Newton is our offense. You can have Kelvin Benjamin and Ted Ginn Jr. Congratulations, Cam. So by the time they got him Christian McCaffrey, it was too late. So he was just giving his thoughts about, you know, what the Bears need to do around Justin Fields and what the Panthers need to do around Bryce Young. Colin Cowherd agreed with Cam, but then he said, but you know what? Cam Newton was something special. Cam Newton was one of the greatest college players I've ever seen, and in his prime, he was unstoppable. This is why I'm giving a shout at to Colin Cowherd.
Because you damn sure wasn't saying. Go ahead, sir.
Exactly. You didn't give this man his flowers when he was out there sacrificing himself every play for the damn Carolina Panthers. But now that he's not playing anymore, now I'm telling y'all should go watch his segment. He's just him and the co-hosts are just like talking about how great Cam Newton was, and he was the best player in football. And the point they were trying to make was that Bryce Young and Justin Fields aren't Cam Newton, which is 100% true. I agree. But it's like, hold up, man. Y'all wasn't saying that about Cam Newton when he was a Panther. Y'all weren't saying it when he was a New England Patriot. Boy, do I bet the Patriots wish they kept Cam instead of Mac Jones, but I digress. But, you know, it's like that's what I hate about Colin Cowherd, Nick Wright, all of those talking head guys is like, man, do they flip-flop on some stuff? It's like you guys hated Cam Newton for 10 years, and now he's one of the greatest players in NFL history.
It's amazing how people will flip-flop for their clickbait. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right, Jamal. All right. Am I going to have to turn your volume down?
Imagine you are a high school player. You're one of the best in the country. You get recruited by a top 5 program, a program that has 3 national championships, one of the quintessential programs in America, one of the programs who have kept TV ratings on top, especially for ESPN over the last 20 to 25 years. Even in your dark years, you kept ESPN ratings afloat for college football. Imagine you are a player. You sacrifice your body, you sacrifice your time away from the classroom to go bust your ass and play for a Power 5 football team who goes undefeated, who does not lose a damn game. You go 13-0. You go 13-0. You don't lose a game just for a bunch of old, greasy, fat white men to tell you it's not good enough to make our college football playoff. I know people love Alabama. I know Nick Saban is the darling of the media. We love Nick Saban he means so much to college football. In Alabama, they're the best program in college football, and we all in Roll Tide. side, and they have all the bandwagon fans, and Dr. Pepper has all these corny ass commercials talking about Alabama. I get it. We know what makes ratings, but guess what matters more than ratings? Guess what matters more than the damn beauty pageant? Guess what matters above all that? You know what matters, Kaza? Winning. I thought winning got you to any other playoffs in any other sport. I thought that's all that matters. Why the hell should another college football team who deserved, let me repeat, who deserved to go to the playoff, why should their failures why should that mirror us? Why should that affect us? The college football committee has pretty much told everybody, you can go lose a game. Losing a game is cool. We don't care if you lose a game. Oh, but if you lose your quarterback to injury, we can't put you in the playoffs. Sorry. That's just the way it is. Maybe you should just try to stay healthy next time. Absolute 110% bullshit. If there are any kids watching this, hey, sorry, put the kids to bed because it's about to go down over here, buddy. Make it so bad. Make it so bad. The former athletic director for Florida State is on this damn committee. How could you let this happen? Oh, the SEC is the better conference. Guess who beat two SEC teams? The undefeated three-time champion Florida State Seminoles beat two SEC teams. Oh, well, it's just LSU and Florida. Oh, but barely beating Auburn off a fluky-ass play. Oh, that's better than just beating two SEC teams, I guess, right? Fuck the college football committee. Fuck the NCAA and fuck Alabama. That is my shout-out.
And now y'all see why I don't watch college football.
College shit.
College shit. Hey, but you know what? I as much as I don't really watch college football, I do follow it because I follow all sports. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. Undefeated in a Power 5 conference and you don't make the playoff is absurd. And it just shows the absurdity of the college playoff system, which, you know, the college playoff system is better than it was before, where they just arbitrarily
should have been better than it should be.
Pick two teams we think should win, compete for the championship game. But this just shows that there needs to be an expansion of the college football playoff. But yeah, that's got to sting for Florida State and all its fans.
So, and one more thing, because the corny ass argument I've been getting all day. Oh man, y'all just go get killed by whoever, whatever. That may be true. Hey, we have a fucking third string quarterback. Georgia's supposed to kill us. But the point is, we deserve to get there. Yeah. TCU deserve to get there. It doesn't matter it shouldn't matter the outcome of the game once you're there. If you did everything to get there, whatever happens after that is whatever, man.
You play the games on the field, not on paper. So, oh well.
Anyway, so after that, all I have to look forward to is the Panthers losing every other game this season and Charlotte Hornets players getting hurt every other 2 games. So I hate sports, man.
Hey, music is back in Charlotte.
What we got, man?
Thanks, David Tepper. No, thanks to David Tepper.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's back.
Why am I so mad? I can just go to a concert.
Yeah, calm down, bro. You know, he might bring Sukasa back. So what if we saw Tepper at Wu-Tang Wednesdays at Summit?
That would be. I don't want to ruin Justin's event, man. I'm just keeping it there.
Hey, Wu-Tang Wednesdays at Summit, Mount Holly. Go check it out.
Hey, yeah, for real. Wednesdays, Summit Beer Shop. You go come check them out, man. Hey, man, Kaza. Busta Rhymes is coming back to Charlotte. I'm giving him one more chance. If I get another piss poor show after paying all this money for a ticket, I will throw batteries at that dude if I get one more piss poor show. One more chance, Busta Rhymes.
I tell you, man, with these old rappers, you know, especially given, you know, Busta Rhymes has always been the definition of energy in hip hop. That's been his style.
That's been his
ever since day one. You know,
right.
Even when he got turned into Fat Buster, it was still the energy. You know, and he started rapping fast. Now Busta Rhymes is in his 50s now.
He's early 50s, yeah.
Early 50s, maybe late 40s. I can guarantee he can't do it like he used to do it. I'm 44, and the last show I did when I was 41, and I almost passed out afterwards. And I don't even have Busta Rhymes levels of energy. I can't get up there and perform for 2 hours. I did a 30-minute set, and I was like, that's it. I'm retired. I'm retired from rapping forever, and I have not done a show since. So I know that Busta Rhymes, he got bills to pay, and his bills ain't like my bills. He got bills to pay. So someone's like, hey, Busta Rhymes, we'll pay you $250,000 to go to Charlotte and for like 2 minutes, and he's gonna do it. And I'm just warning you, Jamal, you might get old Busta. Oh, and when I say old Busta, I don't mean leaders in the new school Busta. I mean old nursing home Busta.
But see, I'll take old Busta if it's longer than 30 minutes. That's all I'm saying. Just don't give us no 30-minute show. That's all I'm saying, man. I don't expect Busta Rhymes to come out there and jump around jump stage dive and do all this crazy stuff he really used to do. Just give me an hour show. I'm good, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know, Jamal.
Hey, Austin, I don't really know. I mean, he's supposed to come, but we'll see.
I don't know. Every old rapper show I've been to in the last decade has been rather disappointing. I liken it to people who keep going to Lauryn Hill shows. Why y'all doing that?
Now that you won't see me do.
And they posted updates on Facebook like, well, she still ain't here yet. It's like, you knew.
You did it to yourself at that point.
Knew, so. All right, we'll give Busta one more chance. His new album dropped. It's not
good.
It's not Busta Rhymes. That's what I'm talking about, man. He's just, you can't. You 50, you can't be rah with the Dungeons and Dragons shit. You can't do that anymore, man.
Yeah.
It's time to play flutes. By the way, Andre 3000's new flute album has outsold every hip hop album to come out this year.
That says a lot without saying anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that, man.
Hey, y'all have a great week. By the way, holiday season. A lot of people get fucked up on holiday season. Seriously, I'm being serious here. Y'all please be safe out there. I don't know if y'all driven on these Charlotte streets lately, but first of all, if it's raining, stay home because you're gonna either be in a car accident or you're gonna see a car accident out there. So y'all just please be safe. I would rather watch the Panthers suck with y'all than us come on here and say one of y'all didn't make it home after shopping. So
yeah, we need y'all here, man. Straight up.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great
week.
As
always, real quick, as always, we don't say this enough, man. Everybody watching, thank y'all. Every week y'all come on here and hear me and Kaza vent and cuss and scream. Thank y'all so much. We don't do it without y'all, man. No doubt, man.
Panthers, Hornets, please. We would love a winning season once or under construction.
Just
once.
It might be our fault at this point, man.
We got one winning Hornet season and they didn't make the playoffs, and we were sad.
Oh God, man. Hey, y'all, like, share, subscribe if you want to, man. But again, thank y'all so much. Kaza, as always, brother. Always a good time.
Yes, sir, bro.
Yeah, man.
Till next week.